Hello viewers, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. So we've just come off a long weekend here in Australia, the Queen's birthday long weekend, where everybody got a Monday as a public holiday in celebration of the Queen's birthday. It was rather nice and rather relaxing. So I've been watching the news, of course, and I've seen that another whistleblower is coming forward with, I think it is first-hand knowledge, and it's not just one, there are several now. So, we need to ask, where is all this going to end? And I also want to look at what's behind Trump's decision to pull the troops out of American troops out of Syria and allow Turkey to come in. And of course, what that does is it leaves the American Kurdish allies at the mercy of the Turks. We'll have a look at that. The next thing I want to look at, I've had repeated requests to look at the Trump militia. I've seen photos of them. They're in riot gear and they carry weapons. And I want to see if this all goes south for Trump, which of course it looks like it will do. What are they going to do? Is there going to be rioting, etc., protests, peaceful protests or otherwise? Are they going to accept the umpire's call? But let's start with the week ahead for Trump. I usually do this a day before, but we'll have a quick look now. What do we need to know about the week ahead for Trump? What's his week ahead going to be like? Of course, the big bombshell news is that the court I think it is in New York, has said that the New York Attorney General's office can actually have 8 years of Trump's tax returns, which is fantastic, except of course that we know that Trump and his lawyers will appeal that. There's obviously something in there that he absolutely does not want the public to know, because he's fighting damned hard to keep them hidden. All right, let's start with the whistleblowers. No, let's start with Trump's week ahead. All right, what's his week ahead likely to be? He's fighting battles on all fronts. He certainly can't take Republican support on his Syria policy now, on the run policy, as some have described it. He can't take Republican support for that for granted. They've come out, all of the main players, and said this is just wrong, just wrong. So he'd be fighting battles there. He's got multiple legal. In fact, I'll go through them because the New York Times had a wonderful article on just how many investigations Trump and his children are actually facing. He's facing at the moment 12 congressional investigations, 10 federal criminal investigations and 8 state and local investigations. So it's pretty significant. No wonder he's slurring his words. What's this week going to be like for Donald Trump? His own worst enemy, I think those closest to him describe him as. What's this week ahead going to be like for Donald Trump? What's the week ahead going to be like for Donald Trump? Okay, so we've got the Five of Swords. I'm using my Rider-Waite tarot, but it's a little bit nuanced. It's the Radiant Rider-Waite tarot. Okay, we've got the Five of Swords. So that's the abuse of power card, but there's a restriction on it with this Eight of Swords. That's not nicely done, Spirit. Let's bring the laptop down and have a good look. Signifier card, abuse of power. This is also bullying, to try and get your way. This is this kind of attitude that Donald Trump has. It's more associated with a mobster than it is with the president. Well, guess what? This week it's actually being restricted. However, we have to look at this a little bit more deeply, I guess. What happens when Donald Trump's power to abuse is restricted? Well, we've seen from evidence that it just gets worse. He's quite insecure at the moment, and this is an insecurity, could be around his tax returns. It seems to be he wants to hold that financial information very close to his chest. I think in a reading I did on the IRS whistleblower, should that IRS whistleblower's complaint be proven, it would be significant enough to end the presidency. I've always said his financials are what will eventually take him down. What's in those financials? Look, we've got the ending of his presidency in the past position here, which is interesting because what the tarot is saying to me is that it's already over. What we're seeing now is him fighting against the inevitability of the ending of his presidency. So that's an interesting card to pull in the past position. What's in the future? We've got the independence, having enough financial means for him to be independent. Now, this is an interesting card to come up in the future. Obviously, money is on his mind. But, if we fast forward to what could be the scenario here, at the ending of his presidency, many have said that he will just resign and take a deal, an immunity from prosecution. And I think there's something around his finances where he will do what he has to do to protect them. It's also the issue in the issue position as well. Let me just push this a tad back. Okay. The immediate future, we've got circles of support and a celebration. So what I do feel that he's doing this week is he's ringing around, he's trying to shore up his support. He's trying to make sure that anyone who's not on side with him will be on side with him. This is also the Republicans now really trying to run cover for Trump, so that will increase this week as well. Those that have been appearing on the media are not coming off too well. Right now, he's thinking of, I guess this is receiving help. It's also giving help. So I do believe that he's trying to call in his favours now. What does a mob boss do when they're under pressure? They call round to their allies. So I do feel that that is what he's doing. This is loans and debt. So he'd be putting the pressure on the Republicans to come out and support him. That's what I feel his main game is this week. But he's very, very worried about his tax returns. The environment that this has created, though, this is why there's no push through. I don't know whether he understands that or not yet. We've got the full people want him gone. Most people support, and a majority of people support an impeachment of Donald Trump. The hopes and the fears. Now, this is interesting. It's an ending and beginning, but it's also the world. So the world card in the fear position or in the hope position, I think we've got to also understand that he's also thinking about whatever took Barr to Italy around this, trying to prove there's a deep threat, a deep state threat to his presidency, pushing this line about a coup, etc. There's also a fear here as well, so that's interesting. Hopes and fears, the world card, and also generally speaking, it's linked to this death card, the ending of his presidency. Here's our Queen of Cups in the outcome position, showing me that there will be more information coming forward. It's just, as I said, bombshell after bombshell. This could be the former American-Ukrainian ambassador as well. Some have said that she's got an explosive story to tell. She's a very credible witness. Whatever's coming this week, lifting the lid off something, it will again further push him out into the cold. This is also a victim card as well. So watch him play that victim. It is all around Ukraine at the moment this week, as well as this insecurity around his tax returns. Let's see what is at the base of the pack. We've got the new starts with the Ace of Wands. We've got the Queen of Pentacles. Again, this is around domestic stability and ensuring your national security. There's also the economy coming into play here, so we need to watch that. And then we've got the Past card, and of course we've got the Victory. Now this tells a narrative in its own self. There is new starts. People want new starts. Why? Because they feel that there is this instability, domestic and indeed global instability, and it goes right back to Donald Trump's alleged victory in the past. And what he's been doing since then. Okay, so his mind's on Ukraine. His mind could even be on the Ukrainian ambassador and what she might reveal. But it is on the whistleblowers, and there's a fair bit of insecurity around his income tax, the releasing of his income tax. So let's have a look at how this might all end. How will this how will this impeachment inquiry end for Donald Trump? How will this impeachment inquiry with Ukraine at its heart, and of course the Democrats chasing the tax returns, how will this end for Donald Trump? How will it end for Donald Trump? How will the impeachment inquiry end for Donald Trump? How will the impeachment inquiry end for Donald Trump? Well, signifier card is, he's under great pressure and great anxiety, and of course it's challenged by judgment and endings. Okay, so we shouldn't underestimate. He might come out with bluster and bravado. That's not how he's feeling at all. The foundation of the reading, he is the emperor, he is the autocrat, he is the dictator, he is, what did he call himself? All wise or superior intellect. It keeps going on and on. This is also about control, and when he loses control, we've got this anxiety. In the past, again, like the Death card, the Wheel of Fortune is in the past position, showing me that this is also a karmic destiny card where the presidency is already ending. We're just going through the active stage of its dying. And it's not very pleasant, I might add. In the sky, we've got review, investigation, and going back to the drawing board. If things aren't going to work out, you go back to the drawing board, you make other plans so that you can achieve your goal. So that's the immediate future. That is the impeachment inquiry. We've got the King of Cups in the immediate future. You'll be hearing more as we go along. This energy is now moving through. It's not the Emperor energy moving through anymore. It's not the King of Pentacles energy moving forward anymore. It is the King of Cups, the benign ruler. Now, at the moment, we've got the focus on the money in some way. So we know he held back money to Ukraine in return for an alleged quid pro quo. We know that there's something else. There is something else. This is money news around not just Ukraine, but other money news that's going to come forward or could come forward, possibly. This is in the present position, so it will be either now or very close to this week. The environment that has created is he's trying to cover that up. So at the heart of this is this delusion around trying to throw a smokescreen over anything to do with either his own Trump Organization finances, the way that he may have profited from the presidency through violations of emoluments laws, and this Ukrainian. There's now the other thing that we have here, which is quite serious, is that we now learn that businessmen, friends of Trump's, journeyed to Ukraine. I think Giuliani as well was there at the time. I'd have to go back to the news story to be absolutely accurate. But as it turned out, Trump's allies, business allies, have been promised a stake in business out of Ukraine. So I do feel that doing business in Ukraine, using the presidential office to push not just business opportunities for his allies, but in some way for himself there. And I feel that's what he's trying to hide. The fear, absolutely. It is the money and it is around his own personal business. Okay, so that is what he fears coming out. How's it all going to end? It's going to end with his downfall. And it's going to end because of this money aspect that is yet to be fully made public. There's more to Ukraine than just what we've heard. But this is the card of new starts, and of course we've got the Page of Cups bringing forward the news. The news around the money is going to end his presidency on all fronts, whether that's his tax returns or whether it's his business friends and allies doing business in Ukraine. What's his cut? It's all about the money, and it has always been about the money. The Ten of Wands, we've got, there's a significant amount of work to actually impeach this president, as we know. He is the devil himself, and we've got Pelosi, though, nevertheless cutting through. I do feel Pelosi and her team, Pelosi, when I say Pelosi, I'm talking about the Democrats and the impeachment inquiry. It's not going to be easy for them, but this greed, this profiting from the presidency is, really where it's at. Yes, the quid pro quo and the dirt on Joe Biden is important, but the money aspect of this is equally important, and that's the narrative that is yet to be fully understood. So watch for that in the impeachment inquiry. And once that happens, the Republicans will have no choice, no other choice but to withdraw their support from him. Okay, so where are we at? 17. We'll have a quick look at why he pulled those remaining troops out of Syria. Of course, he's playing, as commentators have said, he's playing into the hands of Iran and Russia. But he's also leaving the Kurdish American allies with no defences at all, no one to protect their back when they assisted the US troops to stamp out ISIS. And of course, Lindsey Graham has now come out and hammered Trump for doing this. So as has Moscow Mitch. All right, why did Trump pull these troops out? Is it true that he just got the Turkish president got the better of him, as some reports are stating, or is there something ulterior there? Was this done, let's just see, was this done to benefit Vladimir Putin? Pulling American troops out of Syria, was this done to benefit Vladimir Putin? Okay, so who's to know that in 2016 there was a whole bunch of dot points. This is what Russia wants in return, and one of those dot points was pull the American troops out of Syria. Okay, let's have a look. Why did he pull those troops out of Syria? Does this benefit Vladimir Putin? Does this benefit Putin? Does this benefit Putin? All right, we've got the Hierophant suggesting the Congress is going to have none of it. And in fact, they're juggling at the moment and they're going to have to make a decision. This is quite serious for Congress. Congress is, likely to try and do something about this. The foundation of the reading is justice. So I do feel that tells me Congress is going to move to block this. In the past, we've got the World card, which is, the ending of one cycle and the beginning of another. It's interesting the issue or what's in the potential future is some news about money. Again, this came forward in my last reading. That's interesting. Reward for effort as well. Okay, more reward for effort. Why are these money cards coming here? I asked, was this to benefit Putin? What this is telling me is that my scenario about the dot point, get American troops out of Syria, may not have been too far. It may not have been a stretch for the imagination. Right now, though, there's hope. There's hope that Congress and justice will be done. Yeah, there's going to be an investigation. This is the King of Swords. It's not a done deal now because this is the lawmakers. It's not a done deal. Those American troops will leave. There's going to be very, very significant pushback. Hopes and fears, income sources. Why would these pentacles come forward in this reading? And we've got the Queen of Swords, the Congress, and that's talking about the impeachment inquiry. The truth is coming forward. Don't you just love these cards? And we've got the dark money in politics. What's at the base of the reading? It is his impeachment inquiry, the Wheel of Fortune, the anxiety, and here's Trump, the merchant. Does he believe that all his wishes were fulfilled in becoming the president? I don't think so, because we've got all these whistleblowers coming out now, and we've got an emotional loss for Donald Trump. Interesting how those cards played out in that reading. Let's have a look at one more question. I want to look at the Trump militia. If he is impeached, which it's, if he's not impeached, he may be forced to resign. How's the cult of Trump going to react to that? We know that his supporters are less than what one would believe. I read some article that his base is actually, his true base, the cult of Trump, the ones that drank the Kool-Aid, are quite small. Small and vocal nevertheless. And right-thinking Republicans will fall in line with their senators, but not the militia. I don't think the Trump militia, so-called militia, there's some quite unhinged types, and of course he's inciting violence, he's talking civil war. It's so irresponsible. He should have been removed. He should never have been allowed to become president, and he should have been removed with the Mueller report. If the Republicans had done the right thing and William Barr had have been independent and not interfered in the way that he did, Trump would have been impeached through the Mueller report. But he wasn't. So let's have a look now. Again, this is all about learning lessons. Will Trump's supporters accept that he's done the wrong thing? Will they try and incite violence? Will the Trump supporters, I'm hearing that they already have, and we know that, we've seen that in the mass shootings. Will Trump supporters peacefully accept his the end of his presidency? Will Trump supporters peacefully accept the ending of Trump's presidency? Trump supporters, the Trump militia as they're known, will they peacefully accept? I'm just hearing the word no. We've got the Ten of Wands, and this is really hard work. It's at the conclusion of a cycle, and you're carrying a heavy load. The challenge for that is illumination and new starts. That's interesting. It's telling me that whatever they try to do, it's not as though it's going to be a civil war. I just hope everybody is safe. The foundation of the reading, they will feel that they've had a loss, and the other aspect of the Five of Cups is the reaction to the loss, and sometimes that can almost be hysteria. The past card, the Six of Pentacles, the loans and debts, it's giving and receiving help. Some of them still believe that Trump is the chosen one, that he's there to help them. And that's a good card for a cult-like figure like Trump and his impact on those that join the cult. It's pretty sad. The potential future, we've got anxiety and worry. It's been a concern, I think, all along for everyone that he will drag the everybody down with him if he goes. We've got the Knight of Wands, which is this is an action card. This is a knight. This is they're going to be blind with with that passion, and they will be taking action. So it's a combination of anxiety, worry, reaction to loss, and then taking inspired action. At the moment, though, justice is being done, and justice will prevail. The law will prevail. And the atmosphere around is people are reassessing their support for this Trump presidency. So that's a given. This is the impeachment inquiry, and that's justice. Justice will be done. The hopes and the fears, we've got celebrations and we've got the Democrats. So in some ways, this is going to be a very I guess, partisan reaction to what's going to happen. It's going to be very divisive and based along political lines. However, the outcome is this, the King of Cups. This is this benign ruler, benign parent. This is a more supportive, nurturing energy. We've got Trump, the merchant, going back to pre-2016, and we've got the Tower. Okay, so yeah. We've got insecurity, we've got restriction, and we've got the president, being restricted. Okay, so, and of course we've got the Trump organisation. So really, that's the base of the pack energies. What we're seeing here is for the Trump supporters, it's going to be a Tower moment. So I don't think it will be totally peaceful protests. I feel that there is going to be, I guess these are the three cards that tell me that there is going to be protesting, and it may get out of hand. However, the key cards here. The key cards is justice, and the law will be done, and the law will deal with the Trump militia the way that the law would deal with anyone who breaks the law. Okay, so I do feel that Trump's going to resign. I don't feel that it will even get to the impeachment stage. But it wouldn't matter what evidence was before these people, they would still say he was taken out in some way by the deep state. We've got that when I was talking about that. Trump will be most concerned about two things: he's staying out of prison, his independence, and keeping his finances intact. All right, I don't think there's anything else. I'm going to finish it there today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope everybody had a good weekend, and I will be back again with another reading soon. But in the meantime, that's a little bit of an insight or a snapshot into the week ahead. So thank you very much.